We are going to be reacting to my boy Solheim Gaming, absolute legend. He made a new video called Classic Plus could happen anytime now. Here's why. Classic WoW 2025. So we are going to be watching and seeing what he has to say about this. Now, I assume this is about the Total WoW lawsuit and how Blizzard making this lawsuit effectively means that Blizzard is getting closer to an announcement. He's right. Technically, he's correct. But that announcement of it could happen anytime could genuinely be anytime. It could be tomorrow. It could be a year and a half from now. But let's see what my boy has to say.
Classic Plus. This is something people have been wanting for a long time now, and I believe that it's time for Blizzard to actually make something.
And Emerge, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the cult. I appreciate that.
And announce it, if they haven't even started working on it yet. I'm Solheim, and I'm currently making a video here on Classic Plus. It is something that I and many other people have been talking about for a couple of weeks now, and the thing is, we've been asking for Classic Plus for...
Was this the Epoch or the TWoW trailer? I think this is the Epoch trailer. Yeah, this is the Epoch trailer right here. Still really cool, but this is also another Classic Plus private service trailer.
Years. It has actually been years now, and the closest we have gotten is a couple of hints where Agrand and Holly have said Classic with a plus in like their announcement of Season of Discovery and things. It's like their first hint towards something Classic Plus like. Now, the one big step that we have gotten in the whole Classic WoW development, or Classic Plus development, is a lawsuit against Turtle WoW.
Yeah, this one was pretty big. I've covered this in a few videos so far, and I've covered on stream a bunch, but effectively, the Total WoW drama signifies that Blizzard is taking TWoW incredibly seriously, because this isn't a regular lawsuit or cease and desist. This is a full-blown, all hands on deck, Microsoft with the top 50 US legal company leading the charge. With RICO charges and everything else thrown in there, they're trying to get Total WoW on any front they can get, possibly. So that's where a lot of people think is like the big thing, that we're going to be getting TWoW taken down so we get official Classic Plus.
A server that many people consider to be the best version of Classic Plus at the moment. So the first step we have in a direction towards Classic Plus is taking down Classic Plus. And to me, that is straight up dumb, because if they, sure, let's just assume they win the lawsuit, which they might, and they probably will, by the way, another server pops back up, or Torta can send the files to somebody else, or even relaunch it from Russia, and you get Dino WoW, Tortoise WoW, Squirtle WoW, I don't know, just like any knockoff instead of Turtle.
Can you imagine TWoW goes down and then fucking Shenna comes back, Torta comes back, and her name isn't Torta now, her name is Borta, and it's Bertel WoW. And then Borta and Bertel WoW get taken down, and now it's Sorta and Surtle WoW. I mean, they could do that. They could fuck around and find out, but...
WoW. And then we have the whole same problem going over again. Or let's say they take it down completely. We still have Ascension. We still have Warmane. That's right, I named them. We also have Epoch.
So typically, everybody says you have the T server, which is TWoW. You have the E server, which is Epoch. And then you have the W server, which is Warmane, or the A server, which is Ascension. People typically just don't say the full name because they're terrified of the big boogeyman known as Blizzard coming out the woodworks and molesting their butthole. But being realistic, Blizzard's not going to do much to a regular content creator. If you're just creating content or you're just watching, so nobody said anything. My face is in front of fucking Solheim's face. I got to move myself to the other corner. Alrighty.
Bronzebeard. There are so many other alternatives out there that people will flock to. You take one down, 2 or 3 more emerges instantly. Before I keep on rambling, by the way, I do stream live on Kick pretty much every single day, so please consider following me on Kick.
I will say, my boy Hammer, Tello, Solheim, a whole bunch of creator friends of mine have been streaming on Kick. The 95% ad revenue split and all that stuff. The freedom to say what you want, like a lot of classic viewers and like classic creators are more right-leaning, and you know, Twitch is a more liberal platform, so a lot of people have been transitioning over towards Kick. It's just better, like, you know, for a lot of people that enjoy having that kind of freedom of speech to say what they want and how they want to say it. Now, I know a lot of people hate Kick for specific reasons, gambling, this and that, but in terms of creator revenue, how much you get paid and all that things, Kick is a better platform for a creator. So a lot of like people have been pushing their audience to go to Kick.
Hammerdance and a couple of other people are trying to build a Classic WoW community over on Kick, so please consider making an account and follow the Classic WoW people that you enjoy watching over on Kick. The link to my Kick will be down below, so once again, consider throwing me a follow. Either way, Classic Plus. Like I just said, the first step Blizzard has taken in something remotely looking like them developing Classic Plus, even though they might be working on it now behind closed doors, in which case, please announce something, because at the moment, people...
This shit pisses me off a little bit, because how you gonna sit there and have goddamn High Elves in Classic WoW with a whole new zone, and then send us to Mr. Pandaria, and then send us to Mr. Pandaria. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I'm just saying.
People literally think that you're going to work, drinking coffee and going home. Nobody is thinking you're developing anything. People have been expecting Classic Plus for a long time, because for the last 6 years, what have we gotten? We have had Classic WoW, Season of Mastery, which was basically Classic WoW plus some minor adjustments that somebody could make in a day, by the way, just hire an intern and make them do something for a day or a week, and they could have made that. We had Season of Discovery, which granted, that was kind of amazing, but that is the one big development we've had. We had official hardcore servers, but think about it. How much development time do you think that took? Adding a hardcore mode. If you think about Turtle, they have hardcore mode, they have the board.
So I need to clarify this, because a lot of people say it, but effectively the Classic devs had less than 10 employees from the beginning, and until recently the dev team only recently grew. Keep in mind, when I interviewed them back during phase 4, just before during phase 5, and they were talking about, I asked them about the IKEA meatball from Molten Core, the 11th new boss. And they were so excited about getting one art asset from the retail team. Now they have a full-blown team of their own artists and developers. But keep in mind that this was Blackwing Lair when I asked this question, which means by Blackwing Lair, they still had about 10, 15 employees at most. So up until the end of SOD, up until about Scarlet Enclave and, Karazhan Crypts, they had no assets, no art team, no designers. They only had like 5 to 10 devs. And now they've got a full team, but we haven't seen anything of that team, which is the biggest gripe a lot of Classic fans and Classic players have, is we've seen nothing about Classic Plus. We've seen nothing about the future. We now know that they have a big dev team, but we have nothing to go off of that dev team's quality and the work and what they're capable of doing. I think Classic Plus is going to be amazing. I think it's going to be top tier. But a lot of community resentment quite literally comes from the facet of, what's next? What am I meant to be excited about? Because I don't know.
Leveling challenge. They have so many different leveling challenges. The one we have gotten in Classic WoW is a hardcore mode, and that's it. Then we have Anniversary, which is literally just a relaunch of what we have had in the past. Cataclysm, they said themselves they have the files for, so they just re-put the files in. Mist of Pandaria as well, and they're literally following the same release.
I'll give another controversial opinion. Y'all can crucify me for this. I don't think we should have ever gotten Mr. Pandaria or Cataclysm Classic. I don't think they're classic. I don't think they should have ever been made. I don't think they're fun. At that point, just send the player base back to retail. The War Within Season 3 is 10 times funner than Mr. Pandaria Classic. I'll say it. I'll fucking say it. I'm a Classic player, and I'm having more fun in the War Within Season 3 than I am in fucking Mr. Pandaria Classic. I'm not saying Mob Classic's a bad game. If you like Mob Classic, all the power to you. I think it's a phenomenal experience for the raids and all that stuff. If you enjoy that, enjoy that. I have nothing negative to say about it. But in regards to it being a classic project, it is not classic. Yes, I know, Cataclysm came out in 2010. That was 15 years ago. I get it. It's a classic game. In terminology, 2010 is classic, right? Mr. Pandaria, 2012, 13 years ago, is an old game, I get it. But it's not classic in the definition of classic. So I'll stand on that. People can disagree with me, but I'll stand on that.
Schedule as they did back in the day with the same files, and they're fixing the same bugs at the same time. The bugs we had at OG Mist of Pandaria launch, we had in Mob Classic, and they got fixed after 2 weeks back in OG Pandaria. They got fixed after 2 weeks now as well. So it seems like they're copy-pasting that one to the point where the bugs that were still active back then are still active right now, and they're being fixed in the same time span now that they were back then, because they're just copy-pasting the same patches, the same bug fixes, and literally everything. Now, I really do believe that Blizzard...
That's actually kind of funny if that's true, by the way. If that's true, that means we're literally getting the patches as is, which means the devs probably aren't doing it. I'm not saying that's true, but if what Solheim said is true, hypothetically, it means every bug fix, every change, any expansion, any addition is literally just being copy-pasted from the OG code. Now, I know that's not the case because of Celestial Dungeons and Celestial Gear and all this stuff, but it's kind of funny.
Should do something here and announce something, because when your first real big step towards Classic Plus is taking away the one really good option that people have right now to play Classic Plus, that leaves an incredibly sour taste in people's mouth. And sure, I've seen people say Blizzard is in their right to do this, and sure, they are.
Legally, they're in the right. No contest, no conversation, Blizzard is in the legal right. But you can be in the legal right and still be wrong. Taking away TWoW when there's nothing else for a Classic player to play feels like a gut punch to a lot of the Classic player base, and I get it. Blizzard is in the right here. Legally, they're in the right. They have every right, every option, every power available to them they should utilize to take it down. But think about it from the perspective of a Classic fan who wants Classic Plus, has been begging for Classic Plus, has been waiting for it for quite some time, and all they've got, all they have is MoP Classic or Anniversary and going back to AQ40. And now they're terrified of playing because they feel like they're going to lose all their progress and all this stuff, and they don't have an official alternative to jump into it. That's the big issue with taking down TWoW, is despite it being the legal right, player perception matters, and player perception is incredibly negative right now because, yes, we know Classic Plus is coming. We know devs are making an official Classic Plus. But we don't know. We know that we don't know. We know that it's coming, but we don't know that it's coming because there's no official confirmation aside from a, hey guys, listen, what did you think this was all for? And that's like the big problem. It's the biggest problem.
Does that mean that they should? Just because you can do something, should you do that? If I go through some comments right now on my video, I can go through some comments on Hammerdance's videos, a bunch of Classic WoW videos. Even Saryu reacted to this as well yesterday in a video. Well, this video comes out in a couple of days, so either way, a bunch of big YouTubers. I'm not calling myself a big one, but people that are way bigger than me as well when it comes to content creation. They've talked about this topic, and the comment sections are always the same. I have to actively moderate my comment sections sometimes, just because they're talking a little bit too harshly about Blizzard.
Actually, I want to say something about that. On my comment section, I've been told to KMS, or KYS towards me, for being a Blizzard shill. I've been told to KYS for being a TWoW shill. I've been told to KYS for liking Classic or playing retail. I've seen a dozen, more than a dozen, probably 3 or 4 dozen comments about DEI and woke this, feminine men this, masculine women this. It is the comment section on the TWoW takedown on any content creator's page is the funniest, wildest shit I've seen. It's the absolute wild fucking west. Somebody typed a comment. I'd have to go and find the comment, but the comment was something along the lines of, go back to where you came from, you goddamn terrorist or something. And it was like, my brother, I'm Turkish. I lived and grew up in Australia. What do you mean go back to where you came from? I married an American woman. I'm in America. And these people are like, English is my first fucking language. And they're like, go back to where you came from. You want me to go back to fucking Australia?
And using words you probably shouldn't use. But the whole comment section is filled 95
But yo, Whirling, Wooten, and Crusader, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the cult. I appreciate you. If you ever say Turks or Arabs again, that's a permaban. That's a permaban. Not in my chat. Not in my chat. Different culture. Different culture. A whole different.
5% plus of people hating on Blizzard, actively trying to boycott Blizzard, and saying, well, now I'm just more enticed or incentivized to actually play Turtle and give them donations, because they would rather give their money to Turtle to help them in this.
I only started streaming seriously about 4 months ago, so it's not like, I know a lot of my audience hasn't figured out that I stream yet, but I only started seriously 4 weeks ago. But I do every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. EST on Twitch and Kick, but you know.
This case, instead of Blizzard. It is like, sure, they are in their right to do this, they can do this, but just because you can do something, should you actually do it? They have damaged their reputation so much right now with the entire Classic Plus audience. And like I tried to say earlier,
that's actually a funny statement that Solheim stated there, and it's actually really true, because people may not know this, but a lot of people are willing to buy bags, mounts, cosmetics, and whatever from the TWoW in-game store, and they'll do it happily, because fuck Blizzard. Any money we spend on Classic is going to quote-unquote retail. At least the money I spend on TWoW is going towards more TWoW Classic Plus content. That's genuine public perception. People don't feel like the money they spend on Classic goes towards Classic. They feel like the money they spend on Classic, all the sub money, all the resources, all get sent to retail.
in the video here, they can take down Turtle, and another Turtle copy simply respawns under the name of Tortoise WoW, Squirtle WoW, Dino WoW, you name it. It's gonna be a copy-paste with a different name.
If they actually somehow win, I can guarantee you if they actually somehow win, Microsoft gets the servers taken, whatever, Shenna and Torta, however you want to call her, is 10 billion% leaking the source code and making a public domain and uploading that shit everywhere and letting anybody spin up a free turtle instantly. I guarantee you overnight there'll be 50 new turtle wows. She's definitely that vindictive and petty. Based on what I've heard, I don't know, it's just rumors. She's done a bunch of shit in Elysium and other previous private servers. Considering what has been said about her, and again, it's rumor mill. I believe, I don't for a second doubt she would do something like that and just 10 billion Turtle WoW spin-offs come out.
Or people are just going to go play Epoch, Bronzebeard, Ascension, Warmane, you name it, right? There's so many other alternatives that people are just going to play also. They can't take it all down.
That might deepen the charges against her, but I don't think they're ever going to be able to charge her. She lives in Russia, or in Eastern Europe, on some part of Eastern Europe. So because of that, I don't think she's ever going to really get caught and charged in this context. But like, if she did, yeah, they deepen the charges. But like, how are they going to operate in Russia? Russia's under war economy and war statements, so no US sanctions or Microsoft trying to pay money to get her extradited would ever work. At least not in Russia in the current Ukraine-Russia war situation.
They can try, but they can take one down, and another one respawns pretty much instantly. The best way to compete with these servers is to make a good product, and in their own lawsuit, they try to call Turtle WoW an inferior product.
I saw that line, that cracked me up.
I'm not so sure about that one, because sure, Blizzard tried to say that people play here because it's free and inferior. I don't think anybody really cares about it being free or not. People just want to play what they have been asking for.
I'll be upfront. If TWoW was charging a $15 a month sub, people would pay for that $15 a month sub. Hands down, no questions asked, people would pay $15 a month extra. Like, they would pay the $15 a month to play TWoW. TWoW is an actually phenomenal product, and the lawyers calling it inferior, understandable. It's inferior based on metrics and statistics and systems that the Blizzard themselves have. But they're never going to admit that TWoW is better. No legal team will ever admit it's better. They're going to have to call it inferior. But TWoW is not inferior in any context or gameplay or systems. TWoW is beautiful. It's interesting. The new dungeons are great. New zones are great. The assets are great. The balance is great. Like, I'm not trying to shill for TWoW. And I've never played TWoW. I've never touched it. Hypothetically, though, had I ever played TWoW, allegedly, if I had ever played hypothetically TWoW, the dungeons, the leveling, the class balance, the content, phenomenal. Allegedly, right? Hypothetically.
Classic Plus, people have been asking for this now for years, multiple years, and Blizzard hasn't even acknowledged our want for it. It's a hole you think you do but you don't, all over again, because back then as well, we were not just ignored but actively spat on. In this case, we haven't been spat on just yet. I guess the lawsuit was kind of a spit on, but they haven't really acknowledged Classic Plus yet, or even talked about it being, well, in development. They have said they're cooking in the kitchen, but how do we know what they're cooking on? Are they cooking Warlords of Draenor Plus?
Another controversial statement. I was going to say something else, but I want to address that first. I'd actually be interested in a WoD Plus. Like Warlords of Draenor, where they fixed Warlords and all the cut content. WoD Plus could be fucking baller. Y'all could potentially judge me for that. Y'all might say, Eben, what the fuck are you on about? But a WoD Plus sounds fire. What else did he say though?
Even talked about it being cooking sick.
Oh yeah, and what the devs are cooking, what the devs are making, and all of that stuff. I will admit though, I think the classic devs are cooking a good product. I think the classic devs are making an interesting product. I think the classic devs are going to make something cool in Classic Plus. But man, any confirmation, any announcement, any information, bruh, I would kill for anything. God be with me. Please give me a semblance of any information of Classic Plus. Please, I'm begging. I'm begging.
Is it a new season? Or is it actually Classic Plus? Why not keep your customer base involved in the process? I used to love it back in the days when Blizzard would just communicate and talk to us about what they have done. There was like really long blog posts from back in the day, I think this was actual classic development, where they talked about what they had done that week on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. Just a bunch of posts talking about design philosophy and what they have added and stuff like that. I miss those times of communicating. Now, what I have talked about so far has only really been to build up to the main discussion point that I want to have in this video, and that is the fact that...
But yeah, Roth, you are correct. Saying that it's disingenuous that they haven't acknowledged the Classic Plus desire is somewhat true. The issue is they've acknowledged that the Classic Plus crowd is there. They've acknowledged that they're working on something. They've acknowledged that we're here and they hear us, but they haven't said anything. And that's why a lot of people are angry. Acknowledging that they know. They hear us. We hear you. Give us time. And I want to give them time. I want to respect them and let them cook and do all the stuff. But you're going to take TWoW down? It just kind of sucks that we don't have any replacement.
Blizzard should respond to all of the criticism they're getting right now by announcing Classic Plus and giving us a playable version as soon as possible. And I see a bunch of like time spans being thrown out there. It could be announced at BlizzCon 2026, then come out at 2027. That is most likely the realist scenario, I think. But I'm here to sip on some copium and hopium and talk about an alternative thing they can do. They can give us Classic Plus in 3 months from now, or even 2 months. And how, do you ask?
My brother, SOD ended less than 3 months ago. The fuck you mean in 5 months? They could though, technically. He's not wrong. On a technicality, they could develop SOD with us. But I mean, but I'm gonna be real. If they launch Classic Plus with a fraction of the content that TWoW has, player reaction is gonna be abysmal. They're gonna tear Blizzard down, shit on them, destroy them, spit on them. There's no universe where they can launch a small amount of content all at once. And then Ross, that's the exact quote. We've made the decision to slow down on Season of Discovery and begin work on our next major product in the original WoW design space. Exact quote from the final Salt announcement on May 27th. And I'm excited for that. But like I said, we know it's getting announced at BlizzCon next year, but the average player base is tweaking out. That's the problem. They're genuinely tweaking out.
Well, number one, they might have been cooking on it behind the scenes for a couple of months now, ever since closing Season of Discovery, because let's just face it, what have they done after Season of Discovery? They gave us Pandaria, which took basically no development time whatsoever.
Also incorrect, because I did interview the devs about MoP, and it took a lot of fucking effort to repurpose Pandaria and fix the game mode and the world and the zone. So on that front, Pandaria could be cool. I mean, not cool, Pandaria is what it is, but Pandaria took a lot of effort to do. Effort that's honestly, in my opinion, wasted. Again, I'm not hating on MoP, but I just don't think it was necessary.
Took barely anything at all, and after that they haven't really given us anything in Pandaria either, have they? They gave us the new raid, which they somehow managed to launch every single raid at the wrong time. They launched them way before, and then people went and did the raids and then got banned for doing content that Blizzard happened to put out sooner than they should have. So even in Pandaria, they can't even launch that correctly. But yeah, what have they done? They have released some raids in Pandaria, they gave us Celestial Dungeons, and they have applied the same bug fixes now that they did back in the day. Surely, they're doing more at work here. They're working on something. And the reason why I personally believe that Classic Plus could come out in 3 months, even realistically, is that they can use many of the assets that they had from Season of Discovery. I'm not saying use everything. I don't even want to have the class runes, but the class runes could, for example, be taken away from being runes to being actual class abilities, and instead of doing a quest to get a rune, you do a quest to learn an ability permanently, and you never have to do that quest again. And instead of, like what happened in the Season of Discovery to me, was we simply had too many runes. What if every single class has to go through a total of 5 quests, or 5 quest chains, to get 5 new abilities? And that is their Classic Plus. So you get 5 new abilities or talents or like passives that they didn't have back in the days. Like Paladins could get Crusader Strike, they could get Taunt, they could get a new seal, right? Like Seal of Blood or something. I don't know, like those are 3 new abilities right there that would make Paladins insane by default. And Boomkins could get a new ability, they can get some passives to help them with mana and DPS increases. Shadow Priest could get their mana battery effect from the TBC and Wrath. There's so many things they can do here. We don't need to have 30 runes again. Just give us 5 abilities per class, and lock those behind class quests that you get access to at level 10, level 20, level 30, level 40, I don't know. And then also, give...
In my opinion, all the class stuff should be baked into the game by default. You don't have to earn any items, you don't have to earn any abilities or any player power. You just earn your gear. Like having to grind quests to get your abilities was something I didn't like about SOD. So just having all the runes built in, like baked right into the game and class balance and design from the get-go, in my opinion, is a far superior methodology than do this quest line to unlock this new ability.
Give us some new content, but you don't have to go overboard. You don't have to give us everything Turtle WoW has right now at the same time. Turtle has been around for 8 years, and they are consistently adding content on a year by year or even multiple times a year basis. So Classic Plus to me, you could literally give us some abilities from Season of Discovery. Instead of having runes, just have the abilities. Give us Karazhan Crypts as well from Season of Discovery, absolutely. The Scarlet Enclave raid at some point, and also the dungeon we had in, not Ashara, but in the one we had in Fellwood, and also the one we had in Ashtonvale, right? And then they can also work on 1 more or 2 more dungeons to give us while leveling, 1 or 2 dungeons for the end game, and work on 1 or 2 more zones that we can also do while leveling. In this case, they can...
So, Classic Plus should launch with a roadmap. The roadmap should show 5, 6, 7, like, phases. They shouldn't tease everything in old and new phases, but it should be like, on launch, you're getting a brand new raid tier. On launch, you're getting 5 new dungeons, 3 endgame dungeons, 5 leveling dungeons, you're getting full new class balance, Undead Paladin, Dwarf Shaman, yada yada yada. We are launching the next phase, 2 brand new races, one for the Alliance and Horde. The next phase, we're launching a brand new raid tier and this and this. They should give us an actual roadmap of what's coming, but not release everything at once. Level banding stuff is also kind of like iffy. Some people loved it, some people hated it. They need to do like a bunch of content and context things at once. But it's like, we need a bunch of content from the get-go, but you can also stagger so much of it with a proper roadmap.
Take the zones that Turtle Wow has done and make them their own. They don't just shouldn't just copy and paste, but do some adjustments to make it their own product. And by doing this, they don't have to do that much development. They can once again pull a bunch of assets from Season of Discovery. All of the class runes can now be class abilities. We can take the dungeons that they gave us in Season of Discovery and add those to Classic Plus. Maybe adjust them a little bit to make them slightly quote-unquote better and give us, well, more content. And don't go overboard. The whole thing for me about Season of Classic Plus is that it's a version of the game that Blizzard should keep developing pretty much forever. But you don't have to give us a major patch every half year. You can give us a patch that only gives us 2 new dungeons, and that would be lovely. Or give us a patch with 2 new leveling dungeons and a new endgame dungeon.
Exactly.
Just the same way Turtle Wow has done. You don't need to give us a new raid tier every single patch. It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul every single patch. It is just simply adding more and more content into Classic Plus over time. We don't have to have the ultimate Classic Plus at launch. Just give us something and then keep giving us more and more things over time.
And that's what I'm saying. I agree with that. Like, imagine phase 1 is 1 to 60. 2 new endgame dungeons, and like one of them is like a brand new UBRS, right? And then they add like 3 leveling dungeons, and they add a bunch of new quest hubs and stuff to make leveling smoother. Maybe a little island here, a little expansion to Stone Talon, a little like fixing of some quite little zone areas. Then you have phase 2, which is Molten Core with 3 full new bosses. A whole new wing built into Molten Core. The full item revamp and like the class revamp, so the tier sets and stuff are better. On top of that, on phase 1, when they first launched the game, there should be Undead Paladin, Horde Shaman. There should be a bunch of different, Dwarf Shaman. There should be a bunch of different little class balances, like Human Hunter, for example. Add a bunch of content from the get-go, like Paladin having taunt from the get-go, stuff like that for phase 1. Phase 2 is Molten Core, 3 new bosses, new dungeons, stuff like that. Phase 3 should be a brand new raid and a brand new zone, with maybe another dungeon or 2. Phase 4 should be like 2 new zones just for leveling, and like one of the zones is like endgame content, kind of like a zone where you go there to grind content, do PvP, new things to collect and stuff to do. Kind of like not the Timeless Isle. Is it the Timeless Isle in Mr. Pandaria? Yeah, kind of like the Timeless Isle. But that's just an example, because we still need to go through the same 4 OG raids regardless at some point.
Keep developing and listen to player feedback. Alternatively, if Blizzard really wants to give us the best experience by adding as much as they can also hamstring our leveling the same way they did in Season of Discovery, but instead of capping it out at level 25, let's do it level 1 to 30, and then level 30 to 50, and then level 50 to 60. That way we can level from level 1 to 30 in a Classic Plus environment, and while we are doing that, you guys, aka Blizzard, can work on the level 30 to level 50 zones and make those into Classic Plus as well. And then when you think those are ready, give them to us and cap us at level 50, while you guys work on the level 50 to 60 content. That way you are able to once again give us Classic Plus way earlier than otherwise, and you can keep developing the game while we also get to play the game, and at the same time we can give you feedback while we are playing in that same environment. I simply feel like there's so many options Blizzard can go for here that allows them to launch Classic Plus really soon, and
if they're gonna do level branded brackets, I think it should be 1 to 40. I think it should be 1 to 40 or 1 to 45, and then 40 to 60 or 45 to 60. 1 to 30 and then 30 to 60 is kind of wonky. Because 30 to 40 is like a really unfun stretch of content, but if the max levels are 40, 1 to 40 could be made to be fun. But 30 to 40, and then like, you know, and then having to go from 40 to 60 in like one stretch is like not a great experience for a lot of people. So I think 1 to 40 and then 40 to 60 would be a better like launch experience if they were going to do level banded brackets, but that's just my opinion.
simply don't know why they have to keep edging us, because so far they have edged us for 2+ years when people are demanding Classic Plus and asking for Classic Plus, and Season of Discovery was great, but by default it was called Season of
Also correct, 40 gives you the mount, so that opens up the world, and 40 gives you enough power that you can start fucking around on like level 50 zones. So you can start fucking with level 48 or 49 or level 50 mobs. So you can do a bunch of stuff that like adds some flavor to like the first month or two of the content, right? But yeah, we have been edged for 2 years. I know Classic Plus is going to be amazing. I know Classic Plus is going to be top tier. I know Classic Plus is going to be fucking phenomenal. And I'm so excited for it. I know for a fact it's going to be banger. But damn, it's so far out. BlizzCon next year is so far out for me. It's a full year away. A year and 8 days. Considering when I'm doing this reaction.
Discovery. When you hear Season, you know that it's ending, and that kind of disincentivizes you from putting your time in. And that is so antithetical to what Classic Plus is. Classic Plus is meant to be horizontal progression or vertical progression. Either way, it's meant to be like, so if you take a break, you can come back in a year and your progress and your time is still valuable and you don't feel super left behind. If you played Season of Discovery for 3 months and then took a year break, the season was over. You came back and it was dead. Everyone was
That's valid. That's a solid counterpoint. I get it.
level 60, you were level 40. That is not what we want. Classic Plus, we want our time to be valued. Season of Discovery, the gameplay was great, but by it being a season and the way it was made, if you played for 3
That was one of the biggest gripes of Season of Discovery that I heard from a lot of people is, why should I bother playing Season of Discovery when I know for a fact that it's just going to end? When I know for a fact Solid is just an alpha or beta for Classic Plus, I'm just going to wait for the official game mode. Why should I play a beta that's going to be abandoned?
3 months and took a 1-year break and came back, the game was nigh unrecognizable. And that is not Classic Plus. So while the gameplay was great, the whole idea behind the season itself was so anti-Classic Plus to me. And yeah, I feel like once again they could give us Classic Plus at any moment now. They just have to do it correctly. And it shouldn't really be that difficult. I don't know, at this point I feel like they're pigeonholing Classic Plus for no reason at all. They are just holding it back because
I think Classic Plus is being held back because Blizzard wants to use it as a big marketing push to get back millions of Classic players. When Classic Plus gets announced at BlizzCon next year, it's going to be such a huge moment that's going to go turbo fucking viral. It's going to blow the fuck up and be incredibly viral. That there's no universe where they're just launching Classic Plus willy-nilly in the middle of a year. BlizzCon next year is the announcement, and they might even stealth drop it. Like 2 weeks after BlizzCon next year. Or maybe the day of BlizzCon. But let's be real here. They're not announcing BlizzCon. They're not announcing Classic Plus anytime before BlizzCon. It's too big a project to just throw out willy-nilly.
they can. Either way, that's been a long video so far about me talking about Classic Plus. The thing is, Blizzard could add this at any moment, they just have to do it correctly, and please, start listening to your player base. Even right now, the whole Lawsuit vs Turtle WoW, even though you can do this, you probably shouldn't have due to the unrepairable damage you have caused to a bunch of people. And sure, you can say that the people playing on those servers were never interested in Blizzard anyway. Well, if Blizzard offered a good product, people would try it out, but now they are way less likely to. Either way, I think the whole situation is kind of funny, and also very interesting, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. Follow me on Kick for more ranting and more daily content. Follow me here as well on YouTube, click the subscribe button, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below while you're down there, and thank you for watching, I really do appreciate it. I'll see you again in the next video very soon.
Our boy Solheim's a legend. There'll be a link to this video in the description down below, so go check him out. I am going to go down here and write a comment going, I'll be on stage at BlizzCon next year announcing Classic Plus. Don't worry, Solheim baby, I got you. Let me like the video. But it was a good video. He has several valid points. Not everything he said is 100% valid. He did have a couple of points that were contradictory or slightly hypocritical, but for the most part, the vibe and sense of what he was saying is understandable. Now, when you're just doing a rant from stream, it's hard to get like the perfect conversational piece where everything makes immediate perfect sense, especially if it's a one take from your stream. So I understand why there's a couple little like gaps that just don't make that much sense. Also, John, that comment. You just called Blizzard the cuck in the cuck chair while TWoW was fucking its girl, Classic Plus. Hell of a comment, my brother. Hell of a comment. But yeah, thank you all for watching this reaction. It's a second channel video. Like and subscribe. Dislike and subscribe. I don't give a fuck. It's my second channel. Peace, everybody. Ebonheart out.